Sweet. Well, Matt, welcome to the Red Chair. We're so excited you're here with us today. Matt, tell us who Matt is.
Yeah.
Little background, who you were before real estate found you.
That's who Matt is. Yeah. Well, before I got into real estate, I worked in hospice. I was a journeyman. I worked in several different jobs. Like, I think I worked in like 6 or 7 jobs in like 3 or 4 years. So I was all over the place, had no idea where I wanted to go, no direction, things like that. I actually worked for a real estate company at one point in time, but I just wanted to get into ministry. So it was just a job.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, let me learn this and know this. It was like, hey, let me punch a clock and do enough. And then I moved to Dallas, Texas to get into ministry. And I started working for a hospice company. A guy told me, you'll have more impact off a stage than you will have on a stage. So maybe come work with me. I'll teach you business. I'll teach you and take you under my wing and help you grow. And he did that and taught me how to talk to people, how to build relationships, things like that. And he was really good at that. And I'm thankful for that because hospice is one of those things where I feel like if you can sit in a room and talk to somebody about death, then you can talk about anything. But you're talking to people who are at their most vulnerable time in their life. And then you're coming in to tell them, hey, like, here's what the doctor has said. And here's what we can do for you now. But then, that taught me how to be able to communicate with people really well.
Yeah.
So it led me into getting into real estate. Actually, my wife had got her license. We moved back from Texas in the middle of COVID. She got her license, didn't sell much. I think she sold like 1 or 2 properties. And then I was like, you know what? I think I can do this because I've been watching podcasts and YouTube and thinking, okay, this is things she should be doing. Try to coach her. Wasn't going to take that advice coming from me. And I said, you know what? Whoever gets to sell something first after we get our license, after I get my license, gets to stay. And I remember putting my 2 weeks notice in and getting a call saying, hey, we want you to list 7 houses, and end up learning how to list the houses, and then $6 million apartment complex, and things kept going to next and next. And we ended up with 30 something transactions that first year, about my first flip into that first year. So yeah. So went from not knowing anything about really real estate and not having a direction in life to, being able to have a pretty successful first year.
That's incredible. So 36 roughly, your first year. Mm-hmm. Would you attribute that to like some of those skills you learned in hospice and building relationships? Or tell us a little bit like where they came from.
I think it was a few things. Like, well, I had basically a newborn and, married. Wife hadn't sold much in real estate, and I thought, you know what? Either we're going to sell some houses or we're going to be bankrupt. So one, it was like, hey, I can either be scared and broke or I can be scared to make some money. Worst they're going to tell me is no. Let's just put ourselves out there. So I just started, hey, let's make sure everyone knows. There's a guy, his name's Wade Fitzmaurice. He was at KW when I was there, and he said, don't be a secret agent. Make sure everyone knows that you're an agent. After your first year, people shouldn't ask what you do. They should know what you do. And their first question should be, how's the market? How's business? And now that's what people ask. They don't ask, what do you do? So make sure people knew that. And that was the thing. How could I get in front of as many people as fast as possible with social media? So how can I portray a message of confidence and that, hey, trustworthiness, that they can come and talk to me about what they were wanting to get done when it came to real estate. So I think a lot of it was learning how to have a conversation with people about hard things, even if I didn't know everything.
Yeah. And then continuing to follow up and build that brand, build that reputation. Yeah. And I know, Matt, like your faith is so important to you. It's been such an integral part of your journey, your story. Tell us, like, what does that look like in the real estate world now that you're...
Yeah, it's just trying to do things with integrity with people. At the same time, like, we're in a business. So making sure that, hey, things line up with what I say and what I believe. But I think that attracts the people who want to be around you as well, who the clients you want to have. I'll help anybody. It doesn't matter to me. But my thing is I want to make sure people are left better than I found them. So whenever they came in, whatever situation, be able to have a conversation about hard things, be able to laugh about funny things, but be able to know that the big thing that I care about them. I care about their family. They're buying a house. It's about you and your situation, not about me. It's about making sure that you are getting what you need, what you want, and making sure you have someone who's going to come alongside you and help you. At the end of the day, like, the number one rule is to love others. And if I can do that through real estate, I'm going to do that. Doesn't matter what you believe differently of me. My job is going to love you. So that's what I try to do.
And I know people feel that when they work with you, you know, when they're your clients, when those repeat clients, they begin to realize this is who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that translates into referral business too.
Yeah, it definitely does. And that's been like, you know, people ask, where do you get most of your business from? I'm like, oh, well, my church. It's like, I don't want to make it my place where I go and get business. It just happens to work out that way. But at the same time, like, that's just where I'm involved. That's part of my life and a big part of my life. So yeah, it works out that way to have referral business, repeat business, and people that know this is what I do.
That's huge. Yeah. And I mean, over the course of really, you've built a huge business in what, 6 years?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were just celebrating 100 units that you had closed for 2025.
Yeah.
A huge milestone, huge accomplishment. What keeps you grounded?
Yeah.
You know, you've had such a huge runway and a huge growth in a short amount of time.
Yeah. I think there's a few things. Like, one, you're not never self-made. So many people say that. But I've got to stand on shoulders of giants, like my parents, seeing what they got to do and had to do and sacrifice for me to get to where I am and the person I am. I also get to, you know, the people who are in real estate, my peers, who are way far ahead of me. Like, I look at Clarissa Skinner, like when she did 100 units, she's like, one day you'll get there. And I respect that so much for so many things she taught me. And she's a great agent, does a great job. Mikey Molina, like, she's been awesome. Brian Huff sitting down with me. I'll even say Rob Ellerman, when I first got into business, he even sat down with me, took me to lunch and told me, hey, here's some things that's going to take to be successful. So people who have told me how to do it and that are way far advanced than I am and been in the business for so long, like, you know, comparison's the thief of all joy, but I think it's good to compare yourself to say, hey, 100 units is great, but what's your goal? If my goal is to do more and I'm looking at these other people who are doing more, then it's okay. It's great to compare and see what's the barometer. I'm not the bar. The bar's been set. I'm trying to reach it.
Sure.
I know other people will say, oh yeah, you are. That's great. I appreciate that. I'm thankful for that. But at the same time, knowing that there's still more, there's still so much more potential that can be done. There's so many better ways that we can love our clients well and treat them even better, make us feel even more special. So it's like, hey, it's never perfect. Like, I played sports, and like, even you have a great game, you never had a perfect game. So I can still get better. So knowing that, hey, how can I get better to help my clients? And that's what I think keeps me grounded, and knowing that there's other people who are still doing more, to where, okay, hey, we're not there yet, so we can continue to do this.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that. It's like being an athlete, a former athlete, or, you know, once you're an athlete, you're always an athlete.
Nah, I can't do the same things I used to do. Yeah.
But it's that in sales, it's almost like that competitive edge. You know, how do I do more? How do I chase this person?
Yeah.
And for you, Matt, you know, I know you've crossed that line where you're not just building a sales. It's not just about sales anymore. You're really building a business. Who's that white rabbit for you, or that goal for you that's your next?
I say, like, that next is for my kids. And it sounds like there's great agents, but the big thing for me is time. And now it's like, how do I get more time? Because I have 2 little girls who right now, when I come home, they run to dad and they want to be with dad. That's not going to last forever. So how do I get that time to be when I can leave early? I can leave at 2-3 o'clock and know I put in a hard day's work, and where the ball's still moving the way it should be. And I can go home and spend more time with them instead of, hey, I get home at 6 and they go to bed at 8 and I got 2 hours with them. That's not super intentional. Or the only time I get to spend more time with them is vacation. I got to leave. I want to build my life to where I don't have to escape it to get rest. You know, so spending time with the people I care about and that I love is the white rabbit. Right now, it's like, hey, that's building it for more people to come into my team to do that. And like something last year, just praying about and thinking about, okay, why am I doing this? What does that look like to be intentional? Is to have a greater impact on people and provide opportunities for people. So it doesn't do me any good to say stay small. If God gives me a gift and a personality to do this job, then why not go and be bigger and spread that and provide opportunity for great people to be around, which ultimately will self-serve, but ultimately help them as well, help them grow, give them opportunities, things like that, that they might not have someplace else. So making a culture where, hey, it helps them, but I get the reward as well, and my kids get that. So that's the big goal now, is seeing that.
And I love how you mentioned that too. It's like that leadership flywheel. You know, you're pouring into people, and those people eventually give back to your business in a way that creates that freedom for you and then your family to really do the things you want.
Yep, exactly. I can't think of it. Oh, Kelly Bex.
Yeah.
So I remember being on the ALC and Kelly Bex, my first year, she was like, oh, I'm going to travel for like 5 or 6 weeks. I'm like, 5? It's like, how are you doing this in real estate? Like, and that was probably, I was in my 3rd year in, and I was like, this is wild. And through the year, I saw she actually did it. And I was like, okay, this is where I need to go ahead and change some things in my business so I can do that. Well, am I doing 5 or 6 weeks of travel? I think I'm actually getting close this year, but it's being able to have the business set up that way. There's no reason to make the money that you get to make in real estate or help the people you get to help if all you get to do is show up to work every day. I want to be able to enjoy it, have experience that I get to have, because that's how I think I get to pass that down to my kids and do something different, so they can have different experience that I get, be more well-rounded, see different types of people, different parts of the world. And so that was Kelly Bex really inspired me to, hey, grow bigger.
I know. And to take 3 months off of your business. We had a great conversation. I mean, she wrote a contract looking at a waterfall in Costa Rica.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it's like things like that. You just, it's so inspirational to really design your life the way you want it and not just spend your time forever doing things that you want to run away from.
Exactly. It's stuff that sounds like a dream is real. And that's what I think is special about the industry we're in, is that you get what you put into it. And into 100% that, there's people who they have no sphere of influence, but they're killing it and crushing the game. And it's like, okay, you don't have to know a ton of people. You just need to find the thing that works for you and then build your life around the way you want it to be. And I would have never guessed, doing what I get to do, have the impact I get to have. You look at professional athletes, you look at actors, musicians, things like that, and it's like, those are great. But how can I affect my community and people around me? It's like, hey, doing what I'm doing by selling real estate, helping people with their lives and their move, helping people invest, me being able to invest myself, those things, it's like, man, I don't think I'd want to do what they do. I love what I get to do.
It's so powerful. It's like we are the keeper of the net worth of the country.
Yeah.
And we will change people's financial trajectory forever.
It's like, you say that, change people's financial trajectory forever. One of my first transactions was a client. They bought a house in Waldo, and they just got married, I didn't know it, but they put every bit of money they had into getting this house. They bought it for $120,000. Yep. They bought it, they fixed it up. Now they have a baby. They say, hey, we want to sell our house. Great. We put the house on the market for $215,000, $220,000, something like that. And this is within 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. So they're going to walk away with about $80,000. They go and find another, we start looking at houses in Brookside, Overland Park. They get beat out. I was like, hey, guys, why don't we just run this play again? Mm-hmm. You're going to have more kids.
Little house hack.
Yeah. Buy a house, fix it up.
Yep.
So we literally just won a contract this past Saturday. They bought it for $325,000. Buying it for $325,000. They're going to fix it up because it needs work. And it's worth about $340,000. $440,000. They're going to be able to fix it up for about $30,000, $40,000, have the equity, and then stay in it for another 3 to 5 years. How much is Overland Park appreciating each year? 4 or 5%?
Easy.
Yeah. So now they're going to continue to do that. They can go buy another house in 3 to 5 years and get the house they want and have more buying power and be the person who, hey, I can put down and overpay for a house. Now it's setting them up to have generational wealth. And they're like, oh, this is great. Now they want to start, hey, how do I get into rentals? I see the power of real estate. It's hoping that one person to unlock, so much for a family that changes just their family tree. And it's awesome to be a little part of the story.
That's so, and it kind of leads me into, I know investing is one of your passions.
Yeah.
And obviously what you've built in a short amount of time is incredible. Can you kind of walk us through what happened, how you got into it, and then how you've really built your investor arm, your rehab arm, the way you have?
Yeah. So my first year, I sold a $6.6 million apartment complex in Lee Summit. And I found the guy literally on one of those Facebook pages. What? And I just said, hey,
you found a $6 million lead on Facebook.
$6 million lead.
I love it.
Didn't know what the heck I was doing with commercial. But I was like, hey, I'm going to find out, because what I learned how to do really quickly is 3%. So, when you're a realtor, you start saying, I can spend money on this if I sell this. And it was like, oh, I could pay off my debt. I could do all these things. So I learned how to do that. I sold that. I went to go, I was, I say young and ignorant. And I was like, I want a check because I've never seen a check with that many zeros that would have my name on it. So from a guy who was making, $30K to $40,000, $50,000, I think the most I had made before I got into real estate was like $75,000. And I saw a check and I'm like, oh, this is what I can make from selling this. I go get the check. And this little old lady who had been in real estate for years, she was 70 years old, showing house. She said, young man, don't spend that all in one place. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how I would do that. And then she said, you need to learn how to invest in real estate. So as I get that, I'm walking out the door and my mind just starts thinking, what does that mean? Really, like I listened to like Ryan Pineda, I listened to Bigger Pockets. How do I actually do this? So I started listening, underwriting deals, learning how to do that. And then my wife's uncle had a house in Ruskin Heights and said, hey, I got this house I want to sell. Can you sell it? Okay, great. He wanted to sell it for like $60,000, $80,000. And this house was one of those where like it smelled just as bad as it looked. Water had not been on since April. I had went in the house, I think in September. The house wouldn't sell. We ended up kicking the guy out, cleaning it out, and it still wouldn't sell. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm underwriting this deal. I would buy it from you. I'd buy it for $40,000. He's like, okay, we'll do it. All right. I didn't have any financing. I didn't know anything about how hard money was. I just said, okay, who are the most wealthiest people I know? So I went to my father-in-law. I said, hey, and he's a financial advisor. And I was like, okay, if he's going to want to do it, he's going to probably want to, I got to talk his language.
Yeah.
Investing, ROIs, return on investment, hey, cash on cash returns, how long is it going to take, velocity of money, all that kind of stuff. He's like, let's do it. Didn't know what I was doing, but I watched enough YouTube and we went and got bids. I did demo myself the first time ever.
Yep.
Took it down to the studs, redid the property. We put about $40,000 into it. It took us about 7 weeks, sold it before we went on the market. We sold it for $155. And I was like, man, I'm hooked. So at that point, I said,
you got bit.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I can flip a house. So once I've marketed how I was flipping the house, I told people, hey, I can flip houses. I got 3 or 4 people who wanted to do the same thing. They were kind of my guinea pigs. They made money. I had one person who left nursing in the middle of COVID, which, mind you, they were making a lot of money during COVID, and said, hey, I'm going to flip houses. All right. They left their job to flip houses because that one thing that I did and shared it with the rest of the world, they were able to do it. Then that next year, we bought 3 or 4 properties. It went well, learned a ton about it. But at that same time, I said, okay, if I flip houses, maybe just, a couple a quarter, that gives me a perception on social media. People think I do a lot of business. Right. Perception's reality on social media.
Absolutely.
So it's like, okay, I'm flipping houses. I talk about it. People think, oh, you're doing a lot. You're crushing it. I'm like, okay, not really, but yes, I am.
Sure, 3 years.
Yeah. And so with that, it said, okay, I can also have my own inventory. Hey, if I make $40,000 to $50,000 a house, great. And then I could continue to pick up leads that way, learn this business, stay in the business. My biggest thing was when I first got in and say, how do I last? COVID's not going to be the same all the time where you go and get buyers. Everyone wants to buy a house and, you put a house on the market and it sells so quickly. You look like a superstar. So when rates started going up, I said, hey, investors are still going to buy houses. People are still going to buy houses. Buy in the great places, know how to do that. And while I continue to do that, they said year 3 is when you start getting repeat clients. So my thought was as rates continue to go up in that year, I think it was my year 2.5 years being in, where rates jumped from 3 to like 6% in a few months. It was like, okay, well, we can continue to do this and continue to grow. So it was more one of those things of just, how do I just continue to stay in the business? But then it turned into something where it's like, oh, I can build wealth. So now learning a lot about taxes, learning a lot about how to buy properties. Like I'm going to say her name again, Clarissa Skinner. She was instrumental in my growth of learning about investing. And hey, here's what you should do. Here's what you shouldn't do. Hey, you should look at cost segregation. Even before I was even ready to buy rentals. Yeah. She was telling me about that stuff. And she's a rock star within Keller Williams and KW Wealth. And just being able to hear her and pick that up. That's one of the things that I love about Keller Williams in our office is that the people that are here, they know what they're talking about and they're good and they're not scared to share. They don't gatekeep. And I've learned so much from people like that. And that's how I've kind of learned how to have 2 arms of my business that complement each other well. Yeah.
And people, they grow into those conversations. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The first time you hear those things, you're not ready for it.
No.
You keep hearing it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And it starts to click. It starts to make sense once you're
you said, you grow into those conversations. You definitely do. You're not ready, but you grow into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You hear it enough and it finally clicks. Oh, that's
correct.
That's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
So tell us, Matt, how many flips roughly did you guys complete in 2025?
I took a step back. So before 2024, we did about 20.
Okay.
2025, we did about 8. But I said, I'm going to take a step back in 2025. Yeah, 2025. I woke up, and I get a little vulnerable. It was December 10th, and I woke up and I just had my best year. I think we did 64, 63 transactions. And I remember waking up like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like in tears, like, man, I had my best year ever, made the most money I ever made, but I felt empty. And now I feel like, I gotta go do this all over again. And I was kind of feeling that burnout, and my friendships that I had just kind of been, we had gone separate ways in certain things and partnerships and things like that. And I was like, man, okay, I don't know if I'll stay in this business if I got to work the same way I have to work. And if I can't share this with other people, and I can't have help and enjoy who I work with and what I do. So December, I took off basically, and I said, I'm going to find help. I'm going to have systems. 2025 will be the year of systems, and I'm going to hire an admin. So we did 8. I hired an assistant in June, and then I said, hey, we're going to ramp up for next year, and we're going to get everything ready. So when we do grow, we're ready to take it on. So many people, I think, scale, but they're not ready for the scale.
Right.
They don't know what kind of work it's going to take. They don't know what the expectations, or, hey, if they actually achieve what they're going to achieve, they're not ready for it individually or business-wise. So I was like, hey, let's be smart and let's be ready for this. If we think we're going to hit these numbers, all right, be ready for what life that looks like, what type of work it takes, what type of hours it takes. Do you have the people, the team around you to make it work? So we only did 8 in 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're scaling the real estate business too, You're building it so that's ready to fully onboard.
So now, like, our goal is 35 flips.
Okay.
So I think we have 13 right now that we're working on. We're under contract and working on for 2026. I think we got to buy 3 more this month. And now it's more like just a numbers game of like, okay, who can we get in there? How can we get it done? I think our average is about 60 days from contract to contract. And like our average is like $71K a house. So
wow.
It's grown into more of, okay, yeah, we're ready for that. Now I think there's still people that need to hire that we need to bring on.
Right.
But as a leader, you're always looking for that.
I was going to ask, does the same team run both arms of the business, or are they completely separate?
No, they run the same arm. So
okay.
same arm. Yes. I look at it this way. If you find talented people, well, then they can do both.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You can teach someone the investment. You can teach someone the numbers. You can teach someone the operations. And it's just steps.
Yeah.
You buy a house, the first thing you do is demo.
Yep.
All right, you demo, you do rough-in, your electrical, plumbing, HVAC, things like that. And then you come in and do finish work and you paint, all that kind of stuff. So it's just the same steps, repeatable processes. Hey, does this house fit our criteria, the location we want? All those things. It doesn't change. It's just a matter of finding the houses and having the people to do it.
Right.
So I have a great team of people around me, and they do an awesome job. Like, I'd be lost without them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's good. It's always about having those right systems, the people, the models ready to keep the things running.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, I love that. Tell us a little bit about your personal leadership journey.
Yeah.
I know as you scale and you evolve, it's really about who you become along the way. Tell us a little bit about the evolution of Matt Webb.
Yeah.
Throughout the next,
it's
over the years.
Yeah. It's funny because when you're tall, and this is a stat, you can Google this, but they say taller people are better at sales. And also it's, when I think 8th grade, I was like 6'1". So I was as tall as, the average, I think it's above average male in America. So people always thought I was older. They always gave me more, but I wasn't that's just tall in stature, but that, mentally I wasn't there. And, you go through those growing pains of being a young adult, a young man, and you're trying to think, I know all these things, and you just kind of trying to figure it out. Now it's being really intentional. Like, I got into real estate, and you get an LLC, and anybody who has an LLC can say they have a business, but you go from hey, I can just sell a house, put enough food on the table, provide for my family, but then it goes to, I have a business I run, I have a brand I have that I need to be responsible for, and then you bring people on and you're like, hey, I got to be responsible to them and for them. And as you grow in leadership, you lose rights. That's what a mentor of mine told me. So I can't do the same things I want to do. I can't go out and just say, I'm going to buy a Rolex tomorrow. Well, I have payroll I have to take care of. I can't just go do these things, even though, hey, I probably could, but wouldn't be wise. So as that has happened, it's like, okay, hey, I want to have impact and influence on people around me. There's certain times and places to do those things. But now as a leader, you want to create a culture of people around you who you can give opportunities to. You can put them in a chair to be able to be the one speaking on this podcast or other podcasts so can you help them grow? Because the more they grow, yes, does it help me? Yes, but I love seeing success through others. I love seeing people be able to rise and say, hey, you know what? I've outgrown where you're at. And I'm going to go someplace else. I would hate that to happen. That's why I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to be the leader to where they say, hey, I love this place. I love the culture you built. And then also I can afford to keep them. And that means I have to continue to grow. I have to go in and, do my lead gen. I have to do the activities because I don't want to just lead by example. Like I want to be able to lead and say it. And people will say, oh, yep, okay, I've seen his track record. I trust him. I want to be there. Yeah. So when you find good people, you have to continue to grow. Your business is only going to grow to the level of who you are as a person.
That's right.
So I can't say the same if I want to grow. The book that really kind of changed that was Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. And it was more like, how do you give to others and be able to get more of your time back? And that was one of the things that really made me think, okay, what are my non-negotiables? What do I do in the morning? So like trying to wake up at 5:15 every morning, working out, getting time by myself, meditation. So like my phone is not the first thing I look at, trying to make sure that I have time with family, things that I have to do in order to be the best version of me. Because if I can do that well, then I can be great for other people. But if I'm no good for myself, I can't be any good for anybody else. You only can fake it for so long.
That's right. You got to put your own oxygen mask on first.
Exactly.
As they say.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, tell us, you've had an incredible 5 years. What are some of the biggest challenges that you feel like you've had in your business or personally that other people could learn from?
Yeah. I think some of the big things is learning that, real estate, I hear a lot of things that people say, hey, you need to cold call. That's the lead gen. Hey, do door knock. Hey, do open houses, things like that. That might be for a particular person. And I love Gary Keller. He's great. Read the Red Book. I've run my business a lot that way. But I'm not the person who will pick up the phone and cold call somebody.
Yeah.
Do I call my sphere? Yeah, some. But I found my business runs completely different. So I think so many people, it's like, hey, you're learning how to, the square peg in a round hole doesn't work like that for everybody. So you got to find what works for you and who your personality is. And then you got to be confident in that. Like I said, you only can fake it for so long. I can't do I want to wear a suit? Do I wear something that? Yeah, sometimes. But this is me. I'm going to try to be authentically myself. I'm going to tell you, hey, this is who I am. This is what I think. Here's where we go. And I'm going to be confident in that. If that doesn't work for you to want to choose me as your agent, that's okay. But that doesn't change. I think a lot of people lack the confidence in themselves to be able to go and take things to the next level, to take the risk for themselves. So many people, they don't bet on themselves. So I think that's a lot of times, I've seen the best success in my life when I bet on myself, when I go against what other people have, told me, hey, you should do. And not to say you don't take sound advice and sound wisdom from people who understand, but not everybody was giving your vision. So therefore, you can't take advice from everybody. I'm not going to take financial advice from the person who is scraping by and just getting by. No, I'm going to take advice financially from the person who built a business, went through the ups and downs in the industry and say, hey, I'm on the other side. Here's some things you should think about and do. Great. I respect that. Nothing wrong with the person who's just getting by. That's okay. But at the same time, who are you getting your advice from? Not everybody's meant to know your vision and where you want to go. So have confidence in what God has given you and go walk in that. I would also say, something that I've learned from is don't go outside of yourself and what you do just because you think the dollar is going to be there.
Yes.
I've seen that in flips. I've seen a lot of times where people go and say, hey, I'm going to go do this one. And we'll say Leewood. Leewood is a niche market. Yes. If you're an investor. You have to have so many different type of, style ideas. There's a lot of money that goes into that and a lot of money can be made. But if that's not you, don't go do it. It's the same thing hey, for Legion, people want the easy way and say, I'm going to pay for this, fellow, this shiny new object, and that's going to make more money. No, you're just spending more money, and that doesn't work for you. Slow and steady is great. Slow is fast. Build your business well, build a foundation, have the 3 pillars of how you lead gen, and be great at that. Then once you have that figured out and there's a foundation, then you can go and explore. You can afford to. But I think so many people try so many things instead of saying, I'm going to find the 3 things that work for me and go all in on that. So I would say bet on yourself and go slow. And those are things I've learned so many times over and over again. That's like, man, I just need to learn that lesson.
No, I love that. I mean, and what works for you? Like you mentioned, it's like what works for you specifically in your business, and double down on the things that work specifically for you.
Yeah. You don't have to change it.
No.
Real estate is getting in front of people. You get in front of enough people, have enough conversations, you get appointments. Appointments turn to conversions. Conversions turn into, closed transactions. You follow up. That will turn into more conversations, referrals, repeat clients, and you continue to build. It doesn't have to be rocket science.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, kind of take us home. What advice would you give to somebody who might be where you were? 5 years ago, you're just starting out, you've closed a few transactions. Looking back for where you are now, what would be your best advice?
Yeah. My best advice would be genuine. Find out who are you, know who you are, have confidence in that is number one, because people like working with people they like, know, and trust. One thing I think a lot of people appreciate is people who are genuine. So if you are a genuine person, be that. Don't fake it for something else because that's what looks better on YouTube or, the followers, that are following this influencer or personality. No, be you. Be confident in that. And I would also say is understand that you don't have to look like everybody else to make it. You can be different, and it's okay to be different. Your business could look different. If that what works for your lifestyle and where you're at, do that. But don't have to change for somebody else. I also say is be a person who wants to grow and pour into yourself. I think a lot of people go to a lot of different things, but find out what your weakness is. It doesn't have to be your strength, but just find out what it is and how you can continue to grow that person. Hey, I need discipline. Okay, get a routine. Start there. Start with the baby steps. Make it easy. Hey, I need to figure out how to grow in personal relationships and talking with people. Well, go take a class, interpersonal communications, read books. If you're thinking my conversations don't go well, find a mentor. Find people to be in rooms with that you might not be ready for, but you can just sit there and be quiet and listen. Like God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. It's okay to listen more than you talk and be in those rooms with people where you don't have to say anything. You're just taking notes because you can piggyback off of what other people said and make it yours. That will cause you to help grow and get business.
That's right. To just rip off and duplicate, as we always say.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
So.
Well, Matt, if anybody wants to find you, they want to connect with you, reach out to you, what's the best way to find the Webb team in the world?
Social media, Instagram, Facebook. My phone number's on there. It's totally fine. Call me, email me, anywhere like that. You can Google me. We'll pop up, the Webb team. And reach out. I don't gatekeep. So if there's something you want to know, I'm more than happy to communicate that with you. Share secrets, tips, what we do, how we've done it. If you're looking to join a team, hey, shameless plug. Come on. We'd love to have a conversation and see if you're the right fit to join our team.
Perfect. Good. Well, Matt, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right.